Hey guys, you may have seen my recent Lightlocke video showing that he can do a great job in Gear Raid 1. He is actually really good all the way throughout Gear Raid 1, not just in stage 13, but he can actually do a great job at stage 18. Unfortunately, that video and other videos like it may have drawn a bit too much attention from the developers, and this is the Forerunner server. And there is an update notice. So this video is going over the update notice for the Forerunner server. This is not on the global server yet. I do not know when it will come to the global server. Just so you know, the updates are probably going to be around 2 months delayed from the Forerunner to the global server. So don't expect this anytime soon, but I will let you know as soon as we get an update notice for the global server. Likely they will roll a bunch of updates into one. That's what they did previously because we did have separated servers before. So let's go over the update, but the biggest thing is right at the top. Lightlocke. New, his ultimate now restores 3 extra rage when healing the same ally. So they've buffed him a little bit. However, his ultimate's rage cap is super low already, so this is going to have almost no impact. And bug fix. This is actually really interesting. I did mention in my Lightlocke video that his AoE from his ultimate actually impacted every enemy around him. It wasn't capped. You may notice that most AoE mages, even if they do not say so, their AoE effects are capped in the number of enemies it can actually affect. Zealous' ultimate, for example, simply states that it does AoE damage. However, it does actually have an enemy cap. I don't know exactly the cap. I think it's around 10 enemies, but there is definitely some kind of enemy damage cap in the game. So most AoE abilities cannot hit every single enemy. It's really annoying, and I wish they would state it on every single abilities tooltip. Maybe there is a generalized number, probably around 10. But either way, the splash damage of Light of Courage for Lightlocke was uncapped. It was hitting every single enemy, and it made him incredible in Gear Raid 1. So they have fixed this bug. I think it probably genuinely was a bug. Additionally, they have changed his awakening. So on first read, it reads like they have nerfed it from 120% to 50%. However, it is an awakening, and the awakening states increase the splash damage of Light of Courage to 120%. This is saying increase the splash damage by 50%. So you would think it's a 30% damage gain. So what I think they've done is they've actually made his ult do more damage, but to less targets. So overall, it probably will result in him being weaker in Gear Raid 1, but he may be better in other content as it's now doing higher damage just to less targets. We'll have to see how this actually functions once it's in the Forerunner server. So perhaps I'll update a pinned comment on this video to let you know. It's not currently live. The update is in the announcements, but it's not quite live yet. But overall, likely Lightlocke is not going to be as good in Gear Raid 1. I think the main reason he was great was the bug he mentioned here, was that he was dealing damage to an uncapped number of targets. He didn't have a limit on the number of enemies his ultimate splash damage would affect. Anyway, let's move on to the rest of the changes. That's the interesting part. I think would be useful for most people who are building or considering building Lightlocke. But the rest of the changes on the Forerunner server raids, they have added 2 new faction trials for Infernal and Esotericists. That's cool. It's been a long time waiting to add more of these in, so that's wonderful. And that will include most likely more rewards as well. They are also buffing the XP drops in the first 6 stages, so that's good, but typically we only farm stage 7 anyway on the global server, and on the Forerunner server there is a stage 8. So this makes progression gains early better, which is actually nice. That's a good thing to do. But overall, when you're farming in 7 and 8, this change is not going to affect us, which is unfortunate. They've also increased the gold drops for the gold raid stages, so it's now a bit better to farm gold. Stage 7 is the final one for the gold raid, so this is just a nice improvement to our gold farming efficiency. So yeah, a nice buff for us. It'll be easier to get gold in future, so that's wonderful. And others, these are just some general changes that usually are not super impactful. Best records feature has been fixed and is back online. You can now view your top achievements in each raid or mode, and they're visible to friends and guild members. Certain modes have not been updated though, so we need to redo those. And the second is added a feature to display each guild's language information to guild related interfaces, including suggested guilds, guild rankings, and guild invites. They've optimized the suggested guilds feature and the suggestion logic. They've optimized some Heroes Path quests for a smoother experience, which means which I've just finished updating the Heroes Path, has been changed again. So that's very annoying. But for the time being, on my website, mybucket.com, there is a storyline section which has all of the quests for the Hero Path, just so you can know what to look out for ahead. And I have to keep updating it because they just make these tiny changes and they don't tell us what's changed. So it's very upsetting for me, but it should still, broad strokes, be useful. Optimized some music and sound effects, and they've adjusted difficulty and rewards of certain quests. So hopefully they've made the Hero's Path easier because there were some very annoying blocks, and I trust that they have resolved those issues. So that's a good thing. Overall, a pretty simple patch. They've optimized early game XP, they've increased farming gold throughout, which is wonderful, and they've adjusted Lightlocke. From the sounds of it, he should do more damage but to less targets, which is unfortunate. I think that will massively impact how good he is in Gear Raid 1, but we'll just have to see. So if you're watching this video and you rely on Lightlocke at the moment, you may want to consider trying to get Power of Dominance as far as you can. So just beat as many stages in Gear Raid 1 as you can if you rely on Lightlocke, as it may not be as effective whenever this patch does hit, but it could be a couple of months yet. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to go over this update announcement since it kind of tells us what to expect in the future, and I think it's interesting to know that they are paying attention to the Lightlocke shenanigans. Anyway, they're a very short video, but thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great day. Take care, and bye-bye.